Sheesh, the mushrooms talk. What's up, everybody? My name is braV, and this is episode 34. Are we on 34 already? Yeah, of I Can't Produce a Podcast. And if you are tuning in live, I thank you. This is going to be a great conversation with my friend. I have the pleasure of calling him my friend Mikey, or otherwise known as Harvest Base. So, welcome to the show, Mikey. Pleasure, and thank you. I mean, dude, I already know you. I feel like this is going to be a really laid back, different type of conversation, but welcome to the show. And as your friend, big fan of your music, dude. Big fan. Biggest fan.
I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited. This should be fun. But yeah, I'm excited.
What did you think about the song I chose for your intro, Sleepwalker?
Oh, sick! Thank you. I didn't hear it, but that's a good one. I like that one.
Any what's the story behind that, if I might ask, if there is one?
Honest, I think that one, I was living in Seattle and I was trying to I don't even know. I wanted to make something like minimal and chill, and that's just kind of what I ended up coming up with. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why I called it Sleepwalker. It just kind of felt like sleepy.
I really like it feels like there's a lot of OG dub influence, especially with the snare on that one. I don't know. I could be shitting things out my ass, but I don't know. I think Caspa comes to mind when I hear that song. So not exactly chill, but very, very wubby dubby OG style.
Hell yeah. No, I definitely think I don't know, I try to draw inspiration from earlier bass music, and I think that I don't know, there are some things in bass music that are just classic forever. And that I don't know, I really like putting delays on snares and doing cool reggae shit, if that makes any sense. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you and I, or you're a music nerd. There's a lot of, as am I, and I don't think about it enough of how much influence reggae has on, our entire genre, dubstep. I mean, dub is reggae, like a reggae effect. But I don't, do you like reggae? I guess is a cool way we could explore that.
Yeah, I like reggae. I think I don't know, it's not something I listen to all of the time, but I think it's important to listen to where bass music came from, and so I love listening to reggae and dub and I don't know, a lot of drum and bass and old jungle, mostly older jungle. I think all that shit's awesome. But I'd say I'd mostly listen to jungle and UKG and stuff than I would reggae exclusively, but definitely a couple tunes here and there.
I don't know a lot of reggae, like old school reggae, or even old school dub. I think that there's a few songs in my Spotify that I've tried to educate myself with, but most of the reggae that I found myself listening to or kind of got introduced to was through Sublime, and my kind of my love for them. I know they stole a lot of reggae, but if they hadn't stolen it, I wouldn't have known shit about it at all. So,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know. I feel like I used to listen to, I tried to listen to a lot more of it when I was a little younger, a couple of years ago, I guess 3 or 4 years ago. But then I got a job at Chiba Hut and they just only play reggae sometimes. So I think I kind of got a little sick of it, and now I'm pretty selective with what I listen to, just because I don't know, you've worked there, you know what I'm talking about. Can be a lot sometimes.
Listening to reggae at Chiba Hut is while working there is unfortunately one of the least enjoyable times I have ever heard reggae.
Oh, same. I feel like it's the equivalent of if you were to work at a mall during Christmas time.
Oh yeah.
And it's just repetitive Christmas music that drives you crazy. It's the same thing but for stoners.
Exactly. Oh, thank God for SoundCloud and
For real.
And not bad subwoofer. Not gonna lie, the sound system there is not trash.
No, it's not too bad at all. I think they just turn it down a lot. But when it's loud, it sounds really good. I've like tested songs on it and stuff before.
I've like walked out to my car and heard like some bass, like a little bit of sub around the corner before. Anyways, memory lane. Chiba Hut, shout out, I guess. Good sandwiches, better employees though most of the time.
Yeah, true.
Wook Central. Well, yeah. Do you find yourself listening to other kinds of music, or just kind of a lot of EDM nowadays? Since you're in the stew, you're locked in most of the time. You're cooking. If you're taking a break from cooking, do you need to listen to something other than EDM or bass music?
I think I mostly listen to electronic music. Like sometimes I think my next go-to genre is like Midwest emo-y rock music and like some rap music. I like a lot of like like old SoundCloud rap. That was like what I was really into before bass music, and so I try and I don't know. I think like I mostly listen to bass music, but like sometimes I just can't. Like I can't do it, and so like, I'll listen to like jungle or like hardcore or something. I think would be like my secondary EDM genre that I'm always listening to would probably be jungle and hardcore.
I found that Depeche Mode flip that you had on your SoundCloud page earlier. Is that a band that you like, or is it just that one song?
Actually, I was when me and my girlfriend first started dating, that was one of her favorite songs, and I kind of just made that for her as like a surprise. But yeah.
I was just wondering.
I've never really been too into Depeche Mode yet, but that remix turned out pretty sick, and
it was good. Good enough to post. Definitely, cool. I love that. I mean, it was good. I'm pretty sure I liked it on my adventure this morning.
Oh yeah. No, that was cool. I've just never been into like 80s ish music, and not because I don't think it's sick. I think it's cool, but like my parents are pretty old, and so like growing up, I think a lot of the music I was listening to was like classical music and a lot of rock from like the 50s and early 60s.
Yeah.
And so like that's just kind of what I've never really been super exposed. I didn't even listen to rap music until I was like in 8th grade. But yeah, it's been but yeah, I don't know really.
80s music was my dad's like favorite genre while I was growing up, and I low key wasn't even allowed to listen to rap, like because he just didn't like he could be like, listen to all of if he heard an electric guitar, he didn't bat an eye whatsoever, even if it was like disgusting metal. He was just like, yeah, that's cool. But if it was rap music, he was not cool with it whatsoever. But because 80s was his favorite like genre, I'm pretty critical about my 80s music because there's so much of it that's so bad, like so cheesy.
Oh, that's fair. Do you think it like I don't know, because I feel like a lot of 80s music was like almost like a trend. Like I think people kind of come back to that sound now for like nostalgia. But like,
oh yeah, most definitely.
You know what I mean? But like,
yeah.
But like, I've kind of always wondered where that came from.
Well,
like,
so
how did it become like this like not synth wavy, but you know what I mean? Like there's such a specific like sound from the 80s.
I think it's the hair metal sound that I like try to be hypercritical of, which is ironic because I manage or produce for a rock and roll band, so and they're pretty hair metal-esque. And I don't know, I think part of the reason I really love that job is because I don't think they're cheesy. I think that's the one thing they're not, is cheesy. But there's so much. I think it's just cheese. I think cheese is a pretty good way to like you can just kind of identify like who hopped on the sound and kind of who was, I think, innovating and pushing it, or who gets credit for innovating and pushing it. You know, so
Mhm.
yeah, I think someone who rides the line for me is like Def Leppard. If you're familiar, they're like just so hyper 80s, but I think they're the line before I think it gets to like just mad cheese and like you're so unoriginal.
I feel I don't even know what like uh hair metal even is. Well, no, I kind of do. It's like the whole like is it like Kiss kind of? So like
Yeah, like
yeah.
Kiss, Van Halen, uh,
Oh, okay, weird.
yeah, just so much. I'm trying to think of better examples. I mean, Scorpions. I mean, Whitesnake. I think is a really good example of just a hair metal band that will exist to be a hair metal band. Even though I'll probably get crucified for saying that somewhere. But yeah, like Bon Jovi. I don't know. So those are all they all have varying levels of cheese, but personally I think all of those guys are great and there were tons of bands in the 80s that were just trying to copy their sound.
Fair.
But I mean that's any decade. I think you could pick a decade and I could tell you what was popular then, and I think that kind of counts for our music too nowadays. I think there's some cheese everywhere.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you think it was always cheesy? Like, do you think people saw that originally and were like, "That's cheesy, I love it," or did they see that and be
No,
like, "That's really
no.
awesome and serious and
I
cool"?
I think I think at the time there's a lot of it was innovative, but it there was no internet. There was
Yeah.
no one really heard kind of like what the whole hair metal concert synth power chord all that shit was about until it came to their town. I feel like so
That's fair.
I don't really think it was always like cheesy and corny. I think like I said, it's just like with the decade, there's so much. It's like in you ever seen Ted? Like yeah, he
Yeah.
talks about '90s music.
Yeah.
He can sing any '90s song with A-I-O-U-A-I, like with the vowels. Like there's just cheese from every era. I feel like, and like from I think the mid 2000s, the cheese is like auto tune.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Like some. I'm trying to think of someone from like the mid 2000s who would Future. I mean, Future was later. He used a lot of auto-tune, but I think he used it in a less cheesy way. I still think it holds up.
yeah. Well,
But
I think it was like more to like sound like auto tune or like sound synthy rather than to sound in key almost.
oh, fair. You think it's like a stylistic? It was a stylistic choice.
Yeah, like T Pain, he can sing. He can sing his fucking like nuts off. He's really good. But
I've never heard him.
he chose to build his entire career off of autotune, which baffles me today.
Yeah, no, that is crazy. I think people. Yeah, I think you're right. People just fucked with that sound. Like, but I don't know. I think about like that's. I feel like trends come and go in music so quickly, and like I don't even know how else to describe it. Like it's I don't know. Like think about like in the like rap music. I think is like a great example of like it just changing ridiculously quick all of the time. Like I think back to like this peak SoundCloud era, and like there's all these dudes doing all this kind of new shit, which was just like minimalist compared to everything that had kind of come before it. And I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, but
No,
I
that's
just
the
think
point of
like
a pod. That's the point of the podcast.
yeah.
Your fans want to hear you ramble, my friend.
No word.
My my favorite SoundCloud rap album is Acid Rap. I think that might be a little cliche to say, but that one really introduced me to rap music as a whole. I feel like and like the culture.
Acid, like by Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, I think I might be
Nice.
showing my age there a little bit compared to yours, but yeah, no, I was in high school when that came out, and I still think that's one of the most innovative rap albums I've ever heard.
No, it's sick. I remember I listened to it a couple times when I was in high school. Um, I think for me, the original "Come Over When You're Sober" by Lil Peep was my favorite from that kind of era, or like Hellboy as well.
I'll have to check that out because I know you know me. I don't think I've ever been the biggest fan of that like kind of style of rap, but I don't think I've also, when it comes to Lil Peep or especially what you just said, uh I've never given like that album. I've never given an album or like a full listen through of theirs or like any of that real style of music.
That's fair. I like honestly was kind of like I stuck my nose up at Lil Peep at first because I was like, oh, it's just another guy with face tattoos trying to be like a and then I like well, here's what I thought. I was pretty. I used to be pretty pretentious with my rap music, and like I I listened to it and I was like, oh, this is actually like he's not just like mumbling. I mean, like he is sometimes, but he was like combining like my favorite, some of my favorite genres of the music together that I just had never really heard been done before, and that was really cool.
Do you appreciate
his?
A lot of people. Oh, go on. No, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, you're good. I was just saying, like, I think a lot of people didn't realize that about him until he was gone, that he was actually like doing something new and exciting. But I think since his passing, a lot of people have like tried to do the same thing, and like and I don't think it's that original anymore. I really only like the emo whiny rap music when it's Peep for the most part.
I don't know much about him. Did he produce his beats as well as rap?
No, I don't know. I know he did his own vocals. Like he had his own chain in GarageBand that he was like pretty religious about. But like his beats, I think, were made by a couple of people. Like there's like Young Cortex and Horsehead and some other people. I'm blanking, but he had some sick like beat makers.
So you think he's like really good lyricist though?
I don't, maybe not the best lyricist, but I like how he was able to, like, compared to like Kendrick Lamar or something, like, no, but like
I don't think you can. That's apples to oranges though. I don't think that's yeah.
Well, when I think of like a good lyricist, I think of him. You know what I mean?
Like Kendrick style.
Yeah, but like because I think that's like really smart, creative lyricism. But with Lil Peep, I think it was creative and smart in a different way because he was taking like this simplistic, like repetitive, almost like SoundCloud sound, and then combining it with like emo rock and pop punk and like and I thought that was really, really cool. I still think it's really, really cool. But I always try and remix his tunes, but I kind of limit myself to one a year because.
Have you dropped a little Peep remix on your SoundCloud? Did I miss that?
I have 3. And then one of them came out in like on New Year's, I think. That's when I dropped it. But that one's cool. The first one was a collab with Mido. Shout out Mido. And he we made that at my apartment in Denver at the time. And that was probably 3 years ago, and then I've tried to do one a year since. But,
yeah. Word, yeah, it's awesome too, or it's important to. I feel like it's hard to remix artists, or artists that you like or that have like a really high level of respect for. I feel like because you want to do it justice,
Oh yeah, no, I feel like I've started a bunch of Peep remixes that I never finished because I was like, this is trash. Again, I don't know. Like
he would hate it. I think he would hate this.
I don't even know if Lil Peep would fuck with dubstep like that, but I feel like he's cool and he probably would. So I don't know. one can hope, but I don't know. I think it's important to like when you're making remixes to make it. Make stuff that you like, and I like Lil Peep. So
yeah, no, I always wonder like certain artists that are past would like dubstep or like what music has become. I mostly think of like Beethoven and Mozart, but then like I also think about like like Dizzy Gillespie or jazz artists like Otis Redding and shit like that.
I think about that a lot actually. I'm like, what if Mozart had Ableton? Like, would he still make like orchestral music and piano stuff, or would he like throw in break beats and
Would he or would he just say music is a solve the game and then like throw it away and like quit? I don't know. Like,
do you think that they would hate it? Do you think they would hate having access to like Ableton? You know, like
I think Mozart specifically would hate it. I think Beethoven would love it.
How come?
So Mozart, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Mozart was heady. Like he definitely like didn't appreciate all of the rules and broke them and taught his students to be much more fluid with kind of how they were taught music at the time, rather that he was trying to teach them how to be a little bit more innovative than just playing sheet music off of the piano. Beethoven, though, was just like every account of him is just as kind of as a madman. Like he's got the Einstein hair, just like going up, and he's just like probably from like pulling it up all the time. Like he's just kind of known in history to be fucking weird.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, as far as I know, at the end of it, compared to Mozart, at the end of his life, he was losing his hearing. But it was mostly he was basically getting a low pass filter on his ears. So he was losing his higher frequencies before he was losing his. He could still like feel and hear lower frequencies, or at least he could feel them. So by the end of his life, he was just like pounding on the lower end of the keyboard so he could feel music. And I think he would love dubstep.
Oh, that's a good point. I feel like my aunt's deaf, and she I don't know if she likes dubstep, but I know that for a fact that she'll still listen to like music really loud so she can feel like the lower end of it still, you know. And so I bet you like he would probably, if he was around today, like either be really into like, I don't know. I would maybe straight up say that like I think he would make bass music, because if that like later in his life, at least, if that's all he could really do. You know? Yeah.
No, I think he would absolutely love
dirty
bass
shit
music
too.
Oh man, he would. I think I'd see him front row, Lost Lands, absolutely.
What's that one? I'm forgetting which thing it is by him, but it's the one that's like dun 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 dun.
I can never remember the
yeah. But like it's I think it's one of his more famous works. But like whenever I hear that, I think I'm like, I think bro did this like on purpose. Like he must have like it had to be low so he could. I don't know. But like I think if he was alive today, he would honestly probably make some like heavy ass shit, like if that's what he was doing later in his life.
He was making some heavy beats later in his life, that's for sure.
Oh, for real. Like, I think that would translate. Yeah.
So you said you did listen to a lot of classical music growing up. I mean, to dive headfirst into this, I really like treating my songs and arrangements as an orchestra. So that fascinates me a lot when I think of Mozart. I mean, specifically, like Beethoven and like conductors and Mozart, like we as producers just kind of get to use all of these really cool tools and instruments to do what they were doing with real people and real instruments, quote unquote,
Yeah. I think that still happens though. Like there's definitely still like composition majors in schools that like are hell bent on making classical music, and I think that's awesome. But at the same time, I see exactly what like you arrange your tunes as if they were an orchestra, like you mix them the same way and everything, if that makes sense. Like
yeah, well,
I mix like the cellos to the front right and like the violas like behind them, or the bass behind the cellos, if that makes sense. Like do you know how an orchestra is set up? I'm sure you do.
For the most part. Do you
try and mix it like a setup of the orchestra? Or?
No, that's a way cooler like actual implementation though of what I could do. Like kind of set it up like an orchestra and have like the panning like that. That could be really interesting.
That sounds sick.
Yeah.
I wonder if like Hans Zimmer does that shit when he's like cooking.
I wonder if Tipper does that shit.
He might. I feel like, I mean, a lot of with bass music producers, like most of the time, like it's gonna be mono in the middle. Like the bass and low end is gonna be mono. But I think in orchestras, like I don't really. I've never honestly. I've played in orchestras pretty much my whole life, except for like growing up. That's like what I did for the most part. And like I I've never actually wondered that for some reason. I think is like why it's set up the way it is. Now that I think about it, it's kind of like a shell, like.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
I'm sure you could find the answer for that. Is it? Do they kind of group lower frequencies together?
Well, on like if you're looking at it like an orchestra, I'm trying to think. For the most part, they kind of follow, I think, like violins on the left, and then it's like the higher like violin 1 is in the front, and then violin 2 is in the back, and that's just like the different parts. And then it moves over to violas, and it's kind of the same where they're divided by parts. And then I think it goes, if there is like a symphony orchestra, I think in the middle is kind of where all the band instruments are, and I don't really know how they organize that because I've never played in a symphony orchestra, only string orchestras. But I think that's in the middle, so like all the percussion and stuff is like there. But I've also seen people like put stuff on the sides for percussion, so I don't really know. And then it goes to like the cellos, and then behind the cellos is usually the basses. So yeah, I guess they kind of do organize it by like frequency range, but
that would make sense. You wouldn't. I don't think you would want too many low frequencies coming from opposite or polar sides of the venue, or sorry, the shell of the stage.
Yeah, no, 100%. Do you know a lot about like acoustics and stuff?
I tried to. I didn't get a degree in it. I took a couple classes at the end of college, and I read it. I read up on it in my free time, so just
Nice.
a little bit.
That's dope. I've always wanted to learn more about that, but it's like a lot of info. My brain doesn't like retain a lot of information super easily, and so I try to, especially in music too. I just try and stick with what I am better at naturally, and then I like build up skills from there, if that makes sense.
Do you like music theory? Do you find yourself using it often, or not at all?
I use it, I think, about as much as is necessary. Like if I'm doing like a remix and the song is in like a key and it's like a major key, I can like find like the relative minor, and like I know how.
What did you play in the orchestra? Did I already ask you
that? Cello.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful instrument. I played it one year in the 4th grade, but too much, too heavy, too big. Maybe I was too small.
I remember my mom's a cellist, like that's her career, and so she put me on when I was like really young. I think I was like 4 when she kind of started trying to teach me and my sisters how to play cello, and I remember that when we first started, we were too small for actual cellos, and so like even like the small cellos, because there's small cellos out there, they're cute. But she took a viola actually and just had it tuned like a cello, and that's what we used at first, I think.
Do you still play? Dude, you should drop a sick ass cello remix.
Not as much as I would like to. I think I got really into singing for a long time in high school too, and that became kind of like my main instrument. I was in a bunch of choirs and stuff, and I always thought like performance wise, like that's what I was gonna do, was sing. For so long, actually, from like 5th grade till like my junior year of high school, I was like, I'm gonna play guitar and sing. That's gonna be my thing. Bars. But yeah, crazy the way life works, because now I make bass music.
Well, you and I have kind of talked about that pivotal change from when you were, we're both just heavily inspired by G. Jones and have had transformative experiences. I think we both wanted to be rock stars in and of a sense, and kind of found ourselves in the EDM world instead.
Yeah, I agree. What pivoted it for you? Actually, I don't know if I've ever asked you like what made you get into all this.
I mean, to specifically "Getting Live" by Grizz. I can tell you the exact time and place when I first heard that song, and I was perplexed. I was like, "Wait, there's guitar and a build up, and like that doesn't make sense." And so that kind of that piqued my interest for sure. And then I went to, I mean, I was into EDM for sure, but I listened to so many other types of music. Like I'm very interested in my two favorite artists of all time are Sublime and Pink Floyd. Like
Oh, sick.
it's not Bass Nectar or what was. It's not like a bass artist, and it's not Charles, rest in peace. It's, I mean, those, the things that kind of really, like, what musically inspire me are kind of Sublime's like just fuck you attitude, and Pink Floyd's like very intricate and sample work essentially. And I think that I think that can translate into all the art that I do and all the EDM that I listen to. But I was super heady, and I really enjoy all types of music. And so I went to Big Dub in 2016, and I had acid trip that where I wound up in the middle of the crowd for Minnesota Back to Back G Jones. It was the only time they've ever they were on tour. They've never done a back to back tour. I don't know if they've done a set like that since that year, but I don't like the music. It broke my brain. My serotonin was going crazy. But it just kind of it changed me physically, because I was really pretentious and kind of like a heady, or not really heady. I'd say I was pretty pretentious and not very comfortable in my own skin. And then after that concert, I don't know, like I heard real instruments, and then like G Jones completely messed it up with his style of music and whatever he was doing up on stage. And like it really just broke my brain and made me kind of go, oh, okay, like music is like incredibly powerful. Like that like changed my life forever.
Damn.
And then after, I mean, that was like that was my real peak into like, holy shit, like music is incredibly powerful, and like a sea of unexplored, goodness and amazingness. Like that's really what first showed me that. And then throughout college, I had to kind of figure out that I wanted to do that, and pursue that. But yeah, at least for electronic music, that's what did it. I definitely wanted to play guitar and be in a rock band before then.
Nice. No, that's dope. I think that like I think that a lot of people that get into electronic music have like a kind of a similar arc where they were like really big music nerds before, like they played like an instrument. Like I've met so many people who were like band kids, or like I don't know, like Grizz, dude. That's a good example. Like he was definitely like I think he even said that he was like a band kid. Now he's still playing fucking saxophone, But
Big Gigantic was a big part of that. Yeah, that genre too for me. Hey, go on. What were you saying?
Oh, I just think that's really cool. Like I think that's something that a lot of us who make this kind of music have in common, is like we all have pretty cool musical backgrounds,
Dude, busting out the cello, man. That, or the electric cello. Did you ever play or you're getting an electric cello?
I've never played an electric cello. I haven't. I still have my cello. It's like it's in the other room, but I don't think I've played it in like 2-ish years. I've kind of just been trying to lock in on producing and learn more. Like I don't know. I think my main focus ever since I've been using it is Ableton. Like, yeah.
Well, I would love to talk to you about that, sir. What do you think? I mean, so I was listening to your 2024 and your 2025 mix. I don't know. You said your 2024 promo mix isn't all original, right?
That one is not, no, but my 2025 one is. That was just like I wanted to play shows, and I was like, this is what a DJ set of mine would sound like.
I
kind of
was I
the
was just asking because I kind of wanted to talk about how you think your sound has changed over like the last year specifically.
word.
Because I don't know. So there's this squelchiness that I hear, and it's not in every song, but I think you know what I'm talking about. It's really powerful. It's really popular, and I think you've really done well incorporating it in your music. So I just kind of wanted to talk about your production journey when it comes to bass music, and yeah, especially in the last year.
Um, I think in my older music, I was really, really into like sign compression. So like a lot of my earlier tunes as Harvest, I was like trying to go for like this like lo-fi, like very intentional, like just resampley sign compression kind of sound. But I have kind of I don't know. I there was a time last year where I wasn't producing like dubstep at all, and I was just making like jungle and hardcore beats, and like I was trying to get like that kind of old school like ravey sound in my own kind of way. And I think when I kind of came back to the Harvest project and like missed bass music, I stopped doing that because I wasn't enjoying making like sign compression basses. It's kind of tedious, if that makes sense. Like, not to sound like lazy, but like I didn't want to have to like do all of that every single time. um to make these sounds, and I ended up really liking artists like Tape B and Noetica, who's homie. He's a really cool dude. But he yeah, and I started watching some of like his tutorials on YouTube, and like listening to like Tape B and listening to like, yeah, I don't know. I think honestly like a lot of my sound is inspired by my friends in a way. Like I hear the shit they're doing, and that's really cool to me, and I'm like I want to try and keep up with y'all and do my own thing with that, if that makes any sense. So I think I've transitioned into like a more simplistic kind of style recently that's more focused on like just sustained like wubs and respaces and stuff like that instead of like sound compression basses, because I think it's more fun to make them right now. I don't know, but that might change in the future. You know, I might find like a new way to do sound compression and really love it. But like, I think the way I was doing it was getting kind of tedious, and I needed to try other things.
So, do you think the way that you changed making music I mean, that sounds so stupid. You changed the way you made music in your workflow, and that really influenced your sound.
Yeah, because I think for the first like year or two, I was pretty repetitive with it. Like I would do a lot of the same things over and over, and I think that really burned me out. Um, and so I've tried everything to like get around burnout. Honestly, like I've made new templates, I've used old templates, I've deleted templates and just started projects with nothing. Like, and I don't know. I think that was something I thought for a long time was like good, but I don't think now, honestly, for the most part, I don't use a template at all. I just start building songs from scratch and build the template, like the the project as needed, like and not just have like a setup side chain of sections for mixing and buses and stuff. I'll just do what is needed in the moment, and I think for some reason that helps me because it feels more like a blank canvas than like filling in a like a template. You know, I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. I actually I struggled. I don't think I've ever like seriously set up a template unless it's for kind of like fill in the blank work. So I think I have one that I made in the last year, and it's for like my post podcast compression. You know,
Mm.
so it's like audio. It's like it's very specific audio compression that I'm running. Like I'll probably put this conversation through it, but you know it's plug and play. I really enjoy the blank canvas feeling of like opening up a new project and there's nothing there.
Same.
And you
Yeah.
can, but the cool and if you have custom audio racks though, I mean that helps a lot too. You know,
That's true. I don't use racks as much as I like I mostly use them for sound design. Um, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not racks, but like
Racks on
yeah, I
racks on
guess
racks on racks.
yeah, like I'll make like bases with grouping and racks and stuff all the time. But
So what do you use to make your bases most of the time? Operator, Vital,
usually all I
Ableton.
do for the most part is I kind of generate like the main idea of the base in Serum with like a one of the wavetables, and I usually don't do much more than that in Serum. The rest of it is kind of like post processing. Like I might choose like the sine wave from it or something, or like a cool wavetable, and maybe put like some movement on it, so it kind of gets like the idea of something, you know. And then I kind of immediately do everything in post processing or like resampling after.
So you get a general idea of it in Serum, you said, and then just kind of fine tune it afterwards. You don't do.
Yeah, or I keep sculpting it after the fact. I add more interesting textures and stuff if necessary. But like,
Do you
yeah,
not? Do you kind of skip the serum effects, or do you just kind of lightly apply them? Or
if I use them, I mostly just use the distortion ones,
gotcha.
like the hard clip or tube distortion for the most part.
Cool, cool.
And that is kind of it. And sometimes I guess I'll go into like the matrix, you know, and like fucking make pitch adjustments and modulations and stuff. But other than that, like I'm pretty sparing with what I actually do inside of Serum. I just
Do
don't like the way a lot of the effects sound, to be real. Like I don't think all of them are that good, and I know that some people like love them and will have like the separate like Serum effects plugin, but I really don't like a lot of them.
not all effects are created equal. You kind of have to have a preference for it. Otherwise, all the plugins are the same, and they are not all the same.
Facts.
Soundgoodizer is not the same as Omnisphere. It's just not.
Very very true. Right. Soundconnector's a FL Studio exclusive. Where
Yeah.
can you get it in Ableton?
No, you can't get it in Ableton.
I don't.
Do
Have you
you,
used it before? Do you-
no, but we were doing a feedback session last night in the Discord server, and somebody was making a meme about it, being like, "Throw five Soundgoodizers on that," and I was like, "That's yeah, that'd be cool if we had that."
For I feel like what does it do? It kind of just reminds me of OTT.
Yeah, I think it's an OTT. I think it's an overcompressor.
Yeah,
Are you on Ableton 11 BT Dubs?
I'm in 11 currently. Yeah.
Are you have any plans for upgrading? I remember we had a controversial conversation with I don't know if you were there for that on with Confidant about how 12.
Yeah, you know, I was there a little bit. I think I was off the juice a little bit. But I remember this, and I think I was. I don't know. I think I just don't see the need yet to like upgrade. Like, there's nothing about it that makes me want to shell out the money for it. You know. I think 11 is fine for now. You know, if I had like money, you know, I would probably do it just to do it. But like as of right now, I don't really see a point.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're Ableton's made a smart move as a company by releasing 12 at the time they did. I think they could have done a really cool 11.5. I think this could have been an awesome 11.5 update, and then there could have been some like cross compatibility cooperation, because maybe
Yeah.
it could still technically be made with 11, and then maybe they could have charged less for the upgrade. I think they've kind of fumbled the bag. I did some research on it because I wanted to make like a full on video about how it was just
Yeah.
kind of a shit product, but I didn't know enough. And they just kind of started speeding up their like every year apparently until like 8 they were coming up with a new Ableton, and then 8 came along and they were like, this is pretty good. Like DOS is good. Like DOS is we are winning. So then they didn't release anything for like 5 years, and then like 5 years, 5 years, 5 years, and then after that it was like 3 years in between 11 and 12. So I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I never really I got Ableton right around the time that, like, a month or two before Live 11 came out, and I had Live 10 at first, and I ended up getting like a free upgrade to 11, which is fire. That was cool. Shout out Ableton for that. But I've pretty much been in 11 my entire like Ableton career, I'd say. But,
If you could go back and start over with 11, what would you, or like go back in time, tell yourself, Mikey opens up Ableton 11 for the first time, sees you jump through a portal, smack him in the face. What do you say to him?
I would try to. I don't even know. Maybe just. I wouldn't. I don't think I would be the person I am today if I didn't do the things I did, as an artist back then. So I don't think I'd say shit. I'd be like, "Good luck, buddy." Like,
word. Okay. Forget about this. You're dreaming. This is all a dream.
Yeah, I'm like, don't even worry about me being here. Like, just do your thing, and you'll figure it out. And,
hell yeah.
If I could say anything, I'd be like, just literally don't be so fucking hard on yourself. I'm still pretty bad about that, but when I used to be worse. Like I can't. Shouldn't have been. Yeah.
Do you mean like just like self critique, pacing, kind of like comparing yourself to others? I mean, how do you mean?
All of the above. I think that, like, if I couldn't do something, I'd get really frustrated and not, I don't know, just give up in ways. And I had a lot of people in the beginning who like were like not the kindest to me when I first got Ableton, which was kind of
that's unfortunate.
Kind of lame.
Lame.
Yeah, but it's okay. Like it was good character development, and like it gave me. I feel like I've always just like when I'm excited about something, I get like really excited, and I think it was a little much for some people maybe, and they were like, "Oh, this kid's weird, fuck off." But I don't know. I found my tribe since, and those people are not even in my life anymore. So.
Oh, why? I mean,
I definitely.
Keep out the haters. Keep out the haters. I mean, that's, I don't know. That's the simplest way I can put it.
Well, I just would like, I don't know. I'm not gonna use any names, but there was this one time I made plans to make music with these dudes in Denver, and I live in Fort Collins, or I did at the time still, and they like made me drive all the way to Denver to hang out with them, and then all of them were like, actually, never mind. So I'm just like stranded in Denver, like, and they actually did that to me a couple times, which was not too cool of them to make me do. But,
not cool.
Yeah, not swag, but it's okay. We're water under the bridge now, but not swag. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would just say like, hey, like keep going, don't give up, and don't let anyone have an opinion about your music except for your own, because that's all that matters at the end of the day. It's like what you think about it, in my opinion.
I think that's beautiful and wonderfully said, and great answer. Where did you come up with the name Harvest? I think I may have asked you this, but I'm kind of blanking. It might be all the weed.
So, every time people always think it's named after the tree song, but it's not. I swear. Like I was listening to, I was making a song, and it was like fall, it was like early November, and I like looked out my window, and I was so stoned, and I was like already trying to rebrand. I was trying to come up with names, and I saw like a bunch of just like dead leaves, orange leaves flying around in the wind, and it kind of popped in my head. It was like Harvest, and then I was like thinking about branding, because I wanted to have a solid brand with whatever it was, and I was like, that could be really cool. Like, I'll put it on my whiteboard, for ideas of names, and have like a fall, like farm kind of vibe theme. And then I got booked for like a show, and they were like, what do we fucking call you on this flyer? Because we know you're changing your name. And so I like kind of looked at my whiteboard, and Harvest seemed good, and I chose it, and I'm really glad I did, because I really kind of stoked on everything that's happened since. I feel like I've created a little world.
And does your little scarecrow have a name yet? Or is it
His name is Harvest.
Harvest. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I think in the Halloween vibes could go really hard with this with the scarecrow and like the kind of the haystack vibe I get from everything.
Oh, for sure. No, I could like I don't know. I haven't really done anything special for Halloween ever, but that's a really good idea. I don't know why I've never thought about that. But,
Mad spooky. Shout out oh my god. What's nature's artist name?
Nature Surya? Nature Soul?
Yeah.
He goes by Surya when he raps.
Oh. Well, shout out.
Shout out Surya. All right. Yeah.
Well, I guess back to the kind of Ableton stuff. What other plugins or instruments do you like to use, or do you find yourself using?
Rift a lot, honestly, and I mostly use stock Ableton shit for the most part. Like I don't really branch too out of that. But Rift by Minimal Audio is fantastic. I love that plugin. And also Portal by Output, incredible. I think it's such a key component to my like sound, and I use it on every track for so many different things. So
Portal Output. All right, I'm making sure I write these down.
do you know about Portal? It's sick. It's like
definitely
it's like a granular effect plugin. So like you know how like granular synthesis like will take a sound and like synthesize like that sound, and then you like turn it into an instrument kind of.
Yeah.
Portal basically allows you to do that same thing but without using like a granular synthesizer. So like it's just like an effect plugin, so you can turn anything into a granular synthesized like a granulated noise without necessarily having to use like an actual granulator. But like you don't even like there's the effects in it are great. I use the reverb that comes with it all of the time. There's a couple tricks I do to get like cool arpeggio effects. There's some really cool like time property things you can do with it, and bunch of 6 presets. I don't know, my favorite plugin ever. I love the way it sounds, love the way it works. Yeah.
Word. Okay, hell yeah. 10 out of 10. Yeah. That's not even an ad. Sponsored by Output.
Yeah, actually that'd be sick. Sponsor me, Output.
Sponsor this man.
Sponsor me.
That's the clip.
Portal 2.
Portal Camp. When's the Portal 2 drop?
I don't know if they need to though. It's fire. I don't know. I haven't changed much about that.
Wunderbar. Okay. All right. So I know I've got the inside knowledge. You kind of don't use, or you downgraded your hardware. And I know that it went to a good friend of ours. So how have you been?
Yeah.
How have you been working? Like, have you been adapting? You've been making music? Have you been making the same amount of music?
Yes. I would say in general, I've just had some tough personal things happening, so it's been hard to like make music as much as I'd like to. But I will say that in terms of like selling like my push and some other things, like I think output kind of stays the same. I've really tried over the years to like make music in different ways, so I'm never like stuck on one workflow, you know. Right now I'm just mouse and keyboard in it, but not even my mouse sometimes. Sometimes I'll just use the trackpad if I'm lazy. But
do you master your own beats before you release them?
Yes. There's a couple that Mito has done for me, but for the most part I do all of it.
How do you kind of go about doing that? Like to get something show ready, if it's quick and dirty, or if it's like an aggressive master of something?
First, I think, in my opinion, at least, I see it this way, but I think that there's a difference between like show ready and like release ready. You know, like I think for a show, like I could have a whip, and as long as it's loud and not egregiously horrible, like I'm okay with playing it in a show. You know, like if the mix is decent and it's loud enough to compare, like I'll tend to play a lot of whips. in DJ sets sometimes. But to do that, I honestly, for that, I just kind of throw on a limiter and turn it up and pray that it doesn't fuck anything up too much, and then adjust it as needed. But I remember when I first started, I was watching like a deadmau5 live stream or something, and he was breaking down like a mastering chain he had, and it was so simple. It was like a tiny bit of glue compressor, a limiter, and like an EQ, and like the EQ is barely doing anything. They're all barely doing anything, and I think that that's important. I think it's best to keep it simple and like just as, I don't know. At the end of the day, in my opinion, if it sounds good, it sounds good, you know. And that is kind of my mastering motto. But,
so getting things show ready. Well, do you have like a luff threshold that you're trying to reach specifically?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I don't really try and go super loud. But I'm pretty happy with 4 or 5 luffs, negative, you know.
Okay,
that's kind of.
I'm curious because now I know what to throw into Ozone next time I do the automatic mastering.
Oh, what are you planning on?
No. I was just making a joke. Like I'll throw. So Ozone does. I think I have Ozone 8 or Isotope 8 Ozone. I don't know. One of them, and then they have like an automatic like mastering feature, which is pretty cool, but it's not perfect by any means, and not like it's just meant to be like fucking loud. So I'm wondering like. I don't even remember what luff stands for, and I don't exactly know what it is. So it was just kind of like an anecdotal, like, cool, I'll aim for 5.
Yeah, no, I'm actually, that's so real. I've never had like a formal audio kind of education, but I understand that, like, I don't know. At least I kind of look at it as like the decibels below 0 digital decibels, if that makes sense. Because like obviously, like, hold on.
We have a
call, but it can wait. Hold on.
If not, we can always play some music.
Yeah, can I call you back, or can I just be right back?
Yeah. All right, folks. In the meantime, I have the pleasure of showing you the 2025 ID mix by Harvest Bass. Hold on to your butts.
Would you like to do another good deed and give Uncle Ben a hand?
I can't tell you about it. If you can't see it, then you'll just never know it. I feel sorry for you.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. is if it's just playing my mix right now, this is funny because I'm just singing
No,
over it.
that was, I think no, it's all cut out. I think we have returned to normal. Yeah, we're back. And in the
Hell
post
yeah.
edit, that won't happen. So cut right there.
Right.
Yeah. To everyone who stayed, they got a nice taste of that promo mix, dude. And you've got to really, I don't know, man. I won't suck your dick too hard, but it's really, I love your style. It's dirty.
Oh, thank you.
It's deep, dark,
But
and
yeah.
it's dirty. It's filthy. You mentioned that you had thrown a couple of those songs off to a couple labels, and I think you, after listening to that, I don't think I gave it a proper listen the first time. You got a real shot, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. I've never really tried to do label releases before, so I shot kind of high, but I think I'm gonna send some to some smaller labels as well and see that.
Out of the 2025 mix, do you have a favorite or one that stands out or one that you're just like finally? I don't know. Like, is there a particular song on there that holds special value to you?
There's one. I don't know if I put like a track list or anything, but there's one called "Good Deeds" on there that I'm really stoked on. I'm kind of still working on it a little. It's not quite done. But that one I'm really stoked on. I think it's gonna be really cool. And then some of those remixes I'm stoked on, like the Fred Again one. I think it's "I Found You" by Fred Again. But that one's cool. I tried to make it really ambient and trippy and chop it up and make it my own. And that one I'm excited to release. I think I actually might shit post it in the next couple of days, but we'll see.
So when you try and make something a little bit more ambient, do you go granular? Do you just go Portal?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Straight Portal,
Okay.
Portal, and like reverbs and bassy ambient noises in the background of the mix, all that. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, dude, no problem. We've talked about this just like before at work and probably when we were climbing, but do you the music that you release, is it stuff that you've cooked up in an hour, or do you usually just like make songs with intention? Like, is there always like a story behind a song? Because like I always feel like I can't really finish something unless there's like a real, I don't know. That's a personal thing for me. But how do you approach making music? Are there certain songs that get more attention than others, I should say?
Yeah, I think it's a healthy mix of both, honestly, because definitely I put out stuff that I've written in like an hour. But I think that it really depends. Like, it totally is different each time. I have some songs that I've been working on for like a year. I have tunes that I've been working on for months. Sometimes it's like I make it and it's really cool and I put it out the next week. Like, it's all varies, but I really think that for the most part, I usually like will write something pretty quick and then kind of tweak it for a couple months and sit with it a little bit. Yeah.
What's like one of the final vetting stages you do before like you decide to put out a song?
I listen to it over and over and over and over and over until I'm happy with it or I can't stand it anymore. Okay, yeah, this has got to be out.
Is that like while you're
Definitely.
doing the mix down, or is that just like in like being like, could I listen to this for the rest of my life?
Wait, what do you mean? Like,
So when I'm listening to like my band's music, I'm thinking like every single one of my decisions. Like I don't believe in skipping our music, right? Because the philosophy is like we want to do this for the rest of our lives. So we're gonna have to hear these songs for the rest of our life. So I'm always thinking like, oh my God, could I hear this for the rest of my life? Is usually like what I think about when I want to release music, because it feels so permanent.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like no. I don't really do it during the mixing stage as much, but I listen to mixes, if that makes sense, because like I think something I learned or was taught to me pretty early was that like the best way to like kind of ruin your creativity while you're writing music is to listen to it over and over again and just like start it over and play it and blah blah. So I tend to like when I'm kind of in the finishing stages, I will like listen to it once, write down everything that I heard that was shitty and like that I want to change, and then I will go through and not listen to it again until I've done all of those things, and then I'd kind of rinse and repeat until I have nothing left to
Got you.
to change. Yeah.
So you had mentioned to me not earlier in like the podcast, but before that, you had some like pretty important musical influences, like teachers, people that kind of helped you with your like sound design or like your early bass.
Yeah.
What were some of like the core lessons that you took away from that?
Jeez, I think probably like huh.
No, well,
I learned a lot of technical stuff, like I learned how to like DJ and use CDJs and stuff, and that was cool. But I think in terms of sound design, I haven't really learned a lot from too many people. I think like I can credit a lot of that to YouTube and like trial and error.
What was one of the more like aha moments for Ableton? For me, it was kind of realizing that everything just kind of worked like guitar pedals.
That there was no set workflow, if that makes sense. Like I think I started in FL Studio, and I felt like in FL you kind of have to really just use FL. Like you have to kind of just use it the way it is, and there's like specific things and workflow, at least from my understanding. I haven't used it in years, but like that's kind of how it felt. And with Ableton, it felt more like I was like a painter, if that makes sense. Like it felt like a blank canvas than anything else. And I really think that's beautiful. Like you can kind of make Ableton. I always say like Ableton works around you, and that's it. Like you learn the keyboard shortcuts and commands and what the tools are and stuff, but like at the end of the day, like it evolves around you, not the other way around, and that's what I really enjoy about it. Yeah.
Do you write in the session view or the arrangement view most of the time? I mean, I think Ableton session view is really unique and helps me generate ideas sometimes.
I used to a lot when I first started, like because at first I didn't understand Ableton at all. I was like, what is this? And I think session view helped me get a good understanding of how it works. But I honestly find myself writing a lot in arrangement. Actually, I'd say like 98% of the time. I think it's easier for me to generate an idea in arrangement mode, personally. But I definitely see the pros to doing stuff in session. There's definitely cool shit you can do. Like using follow action for sound design and stuff has always been a really cool concept for me.
Do you kind of do all of your own sound design, or do you rely on presets or split them open? Do you have any rules when it comes to presets? I feel like I saw a meme the other day that was about presets, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
That's not.
I think I use. No, well, I don't really. It depends on the presets, I guess. But for the most part, I do all my own sound designer.
I feel like
if I do use like a sample or like a preset that someone made, I will always fuck it up beyond recognition. I try to.
I think that is wise, and I've found that to be a common answer between all of like the great producers I've talked to, is they just kind of do everything, or like the sound design is all usually themselves.
You can't limit yourself to like just using samples. I feel like you can, like it's allowed, but like I don't think it's like that artistic and original to like just like make all your sounds like a levity preset pack Hamdi type shit, like, you gotta change it up and make it your own. That's the cool thing about electronic music, is it's supposed to be unique to the people that make it,
So then how do you approach your drums? Do you have a specific pack that you made, like synthesized, or is it an Ableton pack that you threw a chain on? Or
Straight up, I use like the same packs pretty much every time. And I will be straight up. I usually do not make my own drum sounds. I think that like that is like cool, and yeah, you could have like a unique sound or whatever. But I don't know. Like I think for me, I'm more about if I do like sound design drums, it's like I mostly do it like I'm layering drums that people have already made, if that makes sense. Like I've definitely taken sound design classes where I've had to like make a snare or a kick or something, but like I just think it's tedious for like an atonal kick when I could just grab a sample that I know that works. You know?
yeah, most definitely. I agree. I mean, I think that it's important to know like how to make those sounds and where they come from, and I have learned so much about sound design through learning how to create a kick and a hi-hat and a snare. So I
Yeah, exactly.
definitely get where it's coming from, and like you can be as autistic as you want about it when it comes to your art. You know, you can dial in as hard or as little as you want. So I was just asking about your approach because I've always drums are so. If I could go back in time, I would tell myself to work on drums like first. Essentially, drums are so
Really?
underrated. I think they're like 50% of EDM, and I always get lost in like melodic and like splanky sound design, and I'm a very distractible person, and drums are just kind of in the background driving everything.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. I think drums are really important, but I don't know. I've always had this kind of philosophy with bass music that like I don't know. If it's slapping, you know, like if I'm bopping my head to the beat or whatever, and it's good, I think it's good. But like I try and not use too many tonal drum sounds, if that makes sense. Like I try and make them very percussive and atonal, and yeah, like that's always kind of been something I've done. Even though I've noticed that a lot of my favorite artists use tonal snares like all the time, and I just not really that into them personally when I'm writing music. Like I listen to them and I'm like, but this would be harder with just kind of like no tone.
I agree. I'm really not into that either. It's to me the range of tone, like tonal snare that I'm into is kind of the rock and roll or like metal range. There's really not. I don't know. I feel like it goes a little bit less. It's a little bit more dialed down when it comes to how atonal those snares can be, but it's
True.
It's funny the way I also simultaneously feel like in EDM dubstep, like the best atonal snare is the one that you don't hear, essentially. If that makes any sense at all.
I know what you mean. Just like you don't want to listen to it and be like, yeah, that's like that snare is a G. You know? I don't know.
I think yes, the way it blends so well into the song, or it's just like so in key. You don't even like realize it's there essentially.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it's huge in like rhythm and like I don't know. It's not intuitive is kind of where I'm going, I think.
Yeah. I think it works sometimes though. I don't know. I've never had the ear for it personally, but maybe one day. I don't know. I often find that I do things that I shit on. Like I you know what I mean? Like I'll shit on this now, but like maybe like a year or two from now, like I'll only tune all my drums to like F or something.
I would always try and humble myself by doing like remixes of songs I didn't like, or limiting myself to an instrument or VST that I really hated, or shit on the last week.
What's a song you made that you didn't like?
Oh man, God, was it? It must have been last Friday night. It wasn't good though. I mean,
I lost it. What'd you say?
Last Friday night, like Kesha.
Oh, word.
Or is that Kesha? I don't know.
What song was it?
Um, I don't know. So like that whole era of basically most pop from 2005 to 2008 or 2005 to 2010 like basically just gives me shivers. So like anything you can pick any like any top song from that era and like I would probably hate it.
Dynamite by Teo Cruz.
Mm,
You hate it?
who is that?
Oh, you don't know that song?
Wait, Dynamite by who?
By Teo Cruz, I think is his name. I think, right? Is that his name? I remember that was huge when I was like in third grade or second grade.
Wait. Oh my god, yeah, I hate that song. Oh no.
Yeah,
Turn it
yeah.
No.
Shit like that. You don't like
Yeah.
that?
Oh my god. No. That really that spikes my blood pressure.
Oh no.
It is so bad. I can't do that shit. I despise that so hard.
That was funny. Fucking, I remember I choreographed an entire sing and dance routine with my sister and my neighbor one time to that song when I was a child.
I don't know. I think it's the auto tune. It's like the McDonald's of music. I don't know what it is, but it's so cringe.
The McDonald's of music. Bro, that's how I feel about that one song that came out with Bruno Mars on the feature, and I'm like, it got played at Cheap Out occasionally, but it was Apata APT, whatever. Like the most annoying track I've ever heard in my entire goddamn life. It sounds like the most cookie cutter pop song I've ever heard, and then it drops into this girl just singing appetite. Like, what does that mean? Why are you saying that over and over again? Shut the fuck up. Like, just say apartment. Like, I don't know.
I know what song you're talking about.
You know, and I think it means something, and I'm really sorry if I'm like insensitive about, like, if I'm being insensitive about it, because I don't want to piss anyone off or anything. But like, I think in general it's annoying. Like, shut up. I don't know how much you pay Bruno Mars to hop on that song. Make it good.
I don't remember the first time I heard that song, yeah, one of our coworkers told me, they were like, yeah, guess who's on this track? And I was like, Ozzy Osbourne. And no, I was incorrect.
Crazy. That'd be sick.
If only. I don't
know. I think that I have a lot of respect for people that write pop music because it's kind of a brutal industry and there's a lot that goes into it. But like, I think it's really impressive how they're able to just dumb shit down to the point where it's just like palatable. I was listening to a podcast where like they were interviewing like a pop producer, and he basically said that like if Tyler going to the gym in his car, turning on the radio, doesn't understand your song in 10 seconds, it's a bad song. You know, like it's meant to appeal to the masses, not to be for music nerds. So I understand why, like, you know, like our circle doesn't really listen to that kind of music, but like, I definitely understand the appeal for people that are not really into like Boards of Canada and stuff.
Yeah. I just it's interesting. I think I agree with you. But I see it also as anti-creative. So I don't know if like it's just like not the reason I got into music. It feels like playing by the rules so well. But it is kind of its own little rule book, I guess, you know, what makes pop music. And you can incorporate elements. It's a science, it's an art in it of itself, because pop music evolves. I have one of the coolest quotes that I heard was pop isn't really like a genre. You know, it's
just what's popular.
Yeah.
You know? Like I feel like the sound, like the pop word has changed so much over the course of its existence. Like it started with popular pop music was like I think I could be wrong, but I think pop music was like a different thing at one point. It was like big band, like Frank Sinatra kind of thing. That was called pop music, and it wasn't because it was popular. Maybe it was. I don't know. But I think now that word kind of just means like it's popular. You know, it's popular music.
I wonder. I always thought bubblegum pop was somewhere in there, but I don't know.
What is bubblegum pop?
I don't know if it's just got like a poppy. Like I think it's supposed to represent like the poppiness of like bubble, like just like.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I think I might be making this up. I'm gonna make this up. I'm gonna look this up.
Bubblegum pop.
Please be a real genre. Yes, it's a real genre. Okay, sweet. I'm not making this up.
What are some examples of?
Let's find out. Okay, no, we're not watching that. That looks mad disturbing. Sugar Sugar by the Archies. Okay, that's not really what I had in mind.
Yeah, I was thinking more like Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, like Ariana Grande.
You know, yeah, shit like that. Britney Spears, maybe.
Yep. The mamas.
Actually, I fuck with.
Oh wait, no.
With Britney Spears.
Okay, I think I found a different one, but it's
What?
we got Britney Spears at number 1, so that was right on the money.
Oh, cool.
We got the Monkees at number 2, Little Mix, Spice Girls, the Archies, Katy Perry, Backstreet Boys. Oh my god, I cannot listen to the Backstreet Boys without having an aneurysm. I've had so many aneurysms at Chiba Hut. One Direction, Hannah Montana, Christina Aguilera. Okay, yeah. So Usher, NSYNC, you kind of get the vibe.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I would not think the Monkees would be bubblegum pop.
Do you think they were just like doing what was popular at the time so much so? Like, why would they get? Okay, let's see.
I guess yeah. If that's the definition, like then yeah, because they were kind of a direct response to the Beatles, you know.
Oh my god, you are correct about that. They seem like a ripoff of the Beatles entirely.
They're supposed to be.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, I like some Monkees tunes still. It's wholesome. It's my childhood.
I probably know a couple. I just don't.
Their biggest tune is like Daydream Believer. Definitely heard that song. Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, I can't mean to a daydream believer. Homecoming queen. You know that song?
Probably. I might play an outro with it though. That'd be hilarious.
Maybe a cool remix. Should write that down.
Write it down.
Write it down.
Oh, shout out Stemroller, by the way. Are you on Mac or PC?
Mac.
Okay, I don't know if it exists. I'm gonna double check.
I'm a Mac boy.
I think it does exist. Okay, yeah. Check out Stemroller. It's a really good AI, like stem maker for any song. If you want to do a remix.
Oh, sick. I mostly just like Google. Like I'm like stem splitter, and then I just use this one. Actually, I think I might have it. I was using it earlier. It's called Voice.ai, and it splits it pretty well. And you get like one free conversion a day, but like you can just refresh the page and then you get it.
Change your IP.
But it you get all the stems. It's pretty cool. I've used it, I think, in most remixes in recent history, including the one I started today, which I'm kind of struggling with, but we'll lock in later.
I was pretty impressed because this one was able to do like a System of a Down song like really well. And I was...
Wait, what's it called? I'm going to type it in the chat.
Oh, Stemroller.
Stemroller.
Yeah. There seems to be a few on there. Yeah, you'll find it. But yeah, no, if anyone is watching in the past, present, or the future, Stemroller is tight, and I think it's on GitHub and open source, so you don't need to pay for it.
Yeah. That's cool. But what is open source? It's just
It basically means that nobody owns the source code.
Oh, so you can just use it.
Yeah, you can just
for free.
you can just download this source code and run it on your computer. And there's a whole community of people, potentially a whole community of people, helping develop a certain like patch, like for your system or for everyone's system. Since everyone has access to the code, everyone can work on the code.
That's sweet. I don't know anything about coding. Do you code at all?
I don't write code. I have a bachelor's in computer science, so I have written a lot of code,
Nice.
but I
That's
don't
cool.
like to write. But I have been using AI to write code and like build websites and do like I'm building a plugin. I think I told you about that, and
Yeah, you're saying.
yeah, so that requires reading code and like I said, like it's more like putting pieces together, prompting correctly, and it's not as good as knowing how to write the code yourself. Like nothing replaces that, but it does it does save a lot of time. And I do think there's my philosophy is that you don't need to know exactly how to write it. It's much more important to know how to read it.
Huh.
Yeah.
And there's different languages, right? Like it doesn't all read the same.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem I think is that if you commit all this time to learning how to read and write all of these different languages. Look, I'm not a very smart person. I've met so many people that had like that are just incredibly smart and had like way more CPU and RAM and shit and like could read.
I think you're a smart person, bravo.
I don't know. I don't think I am personally, but I thank you. So
I got you.
I think it's a lot easier and better to commit your time to learning how to read code rather than write it. But I might be mistaken. You might not be able to do one without doing the other.
Can you? I was about to say, like, can you write code without understanding how to read it, or do you have to learn how to read it?
I think no. I think if you assume that the syntax is correct, then you can read code and like understand what's going on.
No word. Okay.
Yeah, rather than knowing how to write it exactly, because writing it is so much is a lot of just knowing like what commas go where and exactly the best like and there's more to it. Like there's more of an art form, but you can read you can read code that you can't write essentially.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
I wanted to do engineering when I went into college, but I was not cut out for it. So then I vaulted out to computer science, and I learned a lot about computers there, which is pretty cool. But I wasn't into the industry side of things. Really, was not. All of my school was training me on like how to be like a Facebook and like a data engineer, essentially. So I got a little jaded. But I do know how to code now, and I really want to use like my coding abilities to make music plugins and software and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. That's really cool.
And I do visuals with coding. I don't know if I've shown you any of that. I think I did that when we were chilling.
Nice. I finally pulled it up on YouTube. Yeah. Man, this is cool though. How long you been? What made you want to start a podcast? Like, did you just listen to a lot of them? Or?
Oh my god, what the hell? I don't remember. At least right now. What made me want to start to do a podcast? I think it was I did listen to a lot of podcasts. And I kind of thought there's literally no one doing it in the scene that I'm like so heavily invested in. Like I'm a SoundCloud goblin. I'm like listening to these people all the time. And I was putting out mixes. I had my own radio show in college. And so I was like making these Buffonda beats and putting out these mixes. And then I was actually like sending them to all these artists because I don't know. I don't know what my plan was, but I was sending these mixes to all these artists that I had featured on there. And um, I think it was just like I'd get like the artists that did respond and didn't respond surprised me, you know? Like sometimes
Fair.
a big artist would hit like a like and a repost and it'd be like, what? And then like a bunch, like 10 smaller artists, like I wouldn't hear from them at all. And sometimes it was the other way around. And I just kind of thought,
Mm.
wow, you know, that's kind of cool. Like, you know, there are these artists that I'm geeking over that are hitting, you know, like, and I think it might have just planted the seed. And I also thought it would be really cool to learn from people, and it'd be, I don't know, it just kind of seemed like, yeah, if I wanted to get to know somebody or like an artist, like this is exactly like what better way to, you know, get to know an artist that I've been listening to than to like have a conversation with them or like platform them or just learn from them and talk about the stuff that,
That's true.
yeah, I don't know. It just kind of seemed to make sense. It didn't really like, it wasn't, it all kind of fell into place. I Can't Produce is like a concept. It's like a channel. It was a channel that I created to kind of dump all of my stuff that I didn't want to post on my braV account because I was like very insecure about it. And so then I started a server and a YouTube channel, and it all just kind of made sense. So don't really remember the exact moment.
Nice.
I do think it was because also I had like no net, like learning Ableton by myself sucked so hard when I was in college.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to make sure that I don't know. I was kind of inspired to build a little community because of how badly that sucked.
That's fair. Did you have like you didn't have any homies in college that like were into producing and stuff?
Towards the end, there were a lot of dope homies that I met, and we learned together. And it wasn't when I first started. I was basically just completely alone. Like I had rented a room in my frat house for the summer, and I was just like, I was just there with my guitar and Ableton and like a bunch of tutorials and YouTube, like, and Adderall, and I was just staying up all night. Like it just, but like nothing clicked. It took so long for me to learn. I don't really know why or exactly, and it really just was because I didn't have, or I mean, yeah, the ultimate solution was because I didn't, you know, have like anyone to specifically like bounce ideas off of. Like I just don't really learn that way. I wasn't feeling inspired. Ultimately, I just wasn't at a place where I could do it at, you know, by myself. I needed a lot of support.
Fair, yeah. I think I have a very I don't know. I think it is kind of lonely at first, you know. And I had some homies when I first started producing that like produced, but none of them were trying to do what I was trying to do. So I felt pretty lonely for like the first year or two. Um, you know, I was working with people that were making like hip hop beats, like piano music, and
Yeah, there was a lot of that too. I had one of my really best friends, the first guy I had on the podcast, um, loved music. We would talk about music all the time, but he was trying to be a hip hop producer, and he knew how to do that really well. And so
yeah,
I could learn how to do that from him if I wanted to. But I, you know, was trying to learn how to make bass music, and at the time there
I
wasn't
think
nearly as many like dedicated resources to like that Charles the First sound or like explorative type of, you know, I guess approach.
yeah. And is that what you're trying to go for? Is like the Charles Dickers kind of?
No, but at the I'd say he was just at the time still one of my biggest inspirations, but he was so cutting edge that, you know, I didn't know where to start.
That's very true. I feel like many have tried to kind of bite his sound in a way, and I don't really. I still think that like I think it spawned a lot of really cool new stuff, but I still think his sound is pretty unique. You know,
Yeah, he was just
very unique as an artist.
can't be said enough, can't be overstated. I mean, how I think he did what called to him. I think he just wrote what called to him. That's kind of my philosophy with it, which is he just kind of wants. I don't know. I assume he wants as an artist, he wants you to kind of just do what your heart tells you to do. That's what I gather from his music. I remember one time I was tripping balls with one of my best friends in college, and we were, I don't know, just we were listening. I had put on Charles the First on the speakers, and through the air, he kind of emulated, like my friend just kind of like, it looked like something manifested out of him, and he was just like, what do you want to do right now? And what it was is he was kind of implying that like we should go out and like explore, and it was kind of inspired by the music, was that we shouldn't really stay where we are. Like we kind of felt an urge for us to express ourselves. So from there, I've always taken it as like a very an opportunity to explore in his music.
Yeah, no, I feel that. He's I think actually he said, I read this somewhere, that he said that he wrote a lot of his music inspired by where he grew up, which is the Lake Tahoe area. You can totally see that, and I think that's really cool. Like, I think he reflected that a lot visually, to go with it, and I was always really impressed with kind of the whole presentation of his project. I don't know. One of my goats for real. I have his logo tattooed on my arm. I never want to forget that. That's what inspired me to try and do like more left field based music. Because when I first started, I was like, I'm gonna make rhythm because everyone makes rhythm. I'm gonna chop 8 songs at a time. And I think hearing his music, I remember specifically because I saw him live. And that was kind of one of my first like introductions to him, and like if not my first, but he played Banshee before it came out, like his collab with Potions on the Lab Group album, the first one, and I was like, what the fuck, are you just allowed to do that? Like, and then everything he did after that, I was like, what the fuck, you can do that? Like, I don't.
I love that feeling so much.
Yeah, and so it was really inspiring, and I kind of went down that whole more experimental, chill kind of rabbit hole because I didn't know you were allowed to do that. You know, like, whoa, people like it, and it's cool and sounds nice, and not like it's gonna, not like, I don't know. I'm not really a huge fan of like the whole really loud, like, are you fucking ready, headbanger? I'll break our fucking necks in rage. Like, that's not rage. That's chill out and each other, you know.
I think that a better description of what I was feeling at that Big Dub, festival was just, yeah, the whole lead, like, you're allowed to do that. I think that feeling is really powerful. It's fucking crazy. Like that we have these preconceived notions of music, and that when they get shattered, like it alters our brain chemistry. It's really fucking cool. So I think that's why pushing those boundaries is just really interesting, and that's what I think it's all about.
I agree. I think at the end of the day, like, I think unfortunately we do live things that they like. So like, that's why you see like a lot of like sudden death clones, or like, you know what I mean, stuff like that. And I think that it's cool. Like, I'm glad that there's space for the black and red aesthetic insane asylum music in here. I'm glad that's for some people, but like for me it is. Like, I don't want to go to a rave and take some acid and see like some horrific shit on the screen. That sounds like not fun.
I saw some scary shit when I went to the Essex show. It was fucking.
Yeah, does he have scary visuals?
I think so. I think they're pretty spooky, but maybe I'm just a bitch. Like, it's just
No, what was it? Like,
It's not like sudden death. It's just like very like death comes for us all type visuals.
damn.
Everything is like low key sad. Like there's frowny faces and like Grim Reaper. You know, and it's not like I said. It's no skulls. Like not overtly like bloody or gory or deathy at all. Just like sad. And I think at the end of it, the message read, "It'll all be over soon." Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was something like very similar to that. And I wasn't tripping. I think I was sober that night. So
Damn.
but I do remember just being like, "That's dark." Like, thank God I'm not like. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I really love his music, and I don't know, like I think I'd like to incorporate some darker elements into my music, but yeah, that was some trippy visuals.
That's well. I don't know. I like. I've always had like a kind of a great plan for my visuals one day, but we'll see if I can actually make
Do
it
you,
happen. I kind of want to like I will have this character, like Harvest Scarecrow, and I like want to have like almost like a cartoon behind me going along with my music and stuff and kind of telling a story of this trippy sentient scarecrow.
like Ganja White Knight kind of like
Yeah,
vibes?
yeah, that's kind of where I got the idea. But like I don't know, a bunch of other artists kind of do that, like Ivy Lab and fucking who else does some shit like that? There's more. I'm blanking, but I don't know. I just think that idea is so cool. And, like I would love to try that one day. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think that'd be sick. There's a lot you can do with that. Like, you can tell a lot of stories.
No, exactly, and I think that one day, like I really want to be able to hire some high quality, yes, like animators and try and make some cool shit, Yeah.
Speaking of, did you remember? Do you have any festivals or anything lined up that you are playing?
Yeah, I'm playing. I can't talk about some of them like publicly yet because they haven't been announced. But I've got a couple coming up this summer. Right now I think the only one I can truly talk about is one in Washington called "Abducted in the Woods," and it's pretty cool. I know the one of the dudes that throws it, and it's like a little awesome little renegade fest, in kind of Western Washington. And I'm really excited for that. It should be fun.
That's awesome. You're gonna kill it. That's gonna be cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm doing a sunrise set there. So
Ooh,
should be cool.
do
Stay up
you
all night.
nice? Yeah.
Probably.
Is is there gonna be like a little harvest tour, summer tour then?
Not anything official. Like I'm at show day here after I get the rest of these bookings kind of wrapped up. But I'm independent right now, and I don't know. I've just been going through some stuff, so it's been hard to like really lock in and email all these people back. But I think after this call or before I go to bed tonight, I'll do some emails.
I,
But
glad I could inspire you. No, I'm happy to dude, I am upset that I did not go to your double upset, and I definitely want to catch you live sometime. So
well, but yeah,
yeah.
well, I hopefully will have something here soon. I just gotta, yeah, just gotta lock in a little bit. I'm mostly focused on just writing music and trying to get out tunes. Still, I think like playing live has never really been like a priority to me, but I would like for it to be. Yeah.
What's the I guess kind of the coolest live show you've played so far?
Man, when in 2023 I did a set at Larimer Lounge in Denver, and that was really cool.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that was really fun and had a good time. It was funny. I was planning on doing like an Ableton set, and I showed up, and for the life of everything, we couldn't figure out how to get audio out from the mixer, like from my Ableton, into the sound system, and so I had to like go into the green room, and while the first couple people were on, I had to like like remake my entire set record box, and I DJ'd in like a month because I was all trying to, expecting to do it in Ableton, and then I had to just kind of rebuild it in record box the best I could, and send it on the CDJs. But it went fine, and it was really fun, and it was good practice for like crises in the future. But,
The best way to learn sometimes is to absolutely be terrified the entire time.
oh yes, yeah, no, I agree.
It's
The only way to grow is to experience discomfort.
exactly. I remember many times being absolutely clueless on the CDJs, and wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like after you know how to use a bike, like you don't have to do it for a while. And you kind of just pull up and oh yeah, everything's in the same place.
Yeah, yeah. You don't exactly once you get the basics down, like you have them down.
I think it's like DJs are easy to learn. Like CDJs are easy to learn, but I think that they're hard to be like mastered and be like really good at. Like I think that like that is um what separates like really good DJs sometimes is like, I think you can learn how to mix or whatever, but like to actually use the CDJs in a way that's like, creative, I think is another skill thing that takes time.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I would agree with that entirely.
Yeah.
I think I have an aversion to cheapness, I think is what I could say. So or as a theme that we've kind of touched on today, and I don't really like it when DJs are not doing anything, like just kind of like walking around, like throwing, on the mic saying, get your hands in the air. I really prefer a tipper style, which I know it's heady, but he doesn't talk. He lets the music do all the talking, get a sample, do all the talking through your music is kind of how I feel about it. And then like at the end, I just, don't be cheesy about it, in my opinion.
Yeah, for real.
There's a lot of cheese going around.
So much cheese. Yeah. Man, dude, well, I like.
Oh, no. I was just about to ask. That was kind of the reason that I asked if you had anything coming up. I thought maybe we could end on telling the audience where to find you,
Yeah. You can check me out on Instagram, harvest_base. Like all my links are there. Or on SoundCloud, just harvest. I look for the scarecrow. I should pop up there.
Everything will be in the description, most definitely, or at least the link tree.
Nice. Well, yeah, I've got some new shit coming out on Friday. And that is going to be like a secret remix. I'm going to post about it on Friday when I post the remix. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled.
Sweet. You heard it here first on the I Can't Produce a podcast, episode number 34. Dude, Mikey, I appreciate you. I will play you out, but what should I play?
Appreciate you too. Thank you for having me on. I'm honored.
Not
to chat.
Dude, anytime. And I appreciate the insight on the music, the Ableton, the everything, the story. Yeah, thanks for the time. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you're on the up and up, my friend. Remember me. Is all I'll ask.
I'll never forget you, brother.
All right, much love. You can disconnect right now if you need, or just mute yourself if you wanted to hang out, but it sounds like you got to go, my friend, and I'm going to play you out. So, dude, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, of course. I love you. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right. Talk to you soon, brother. Peace. To everybody listening, thank you for listening. I don't care if it's the past, present, or the future. I love you. I love you too. Thank you. The internet is a really crazy tool where I can share this experience with y'all. So yeah, check out the links in the description. We have a Discord server where you can hang out with fellow music lovers and artists that have been on the show and that also want to help you personally make music. And yeah, my name is braV. And that was Harvest Base. This is his Which Way bootleg, which it's delicious. You're going to love it. Check it out. All right, episode 34. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time. Peace, y'all.